Welcome to day 3 of the Crossfront Sew Along. I'm Sarah, and today we're sewing steps 5 through 10. I'll put the link to this sewing pattern in the description. Step 5 is sewing the band to our front skirt. Take your front band and fold it in half lengthwise with the wrong sides together. Then place it on top of the front skirt with right sides and raw edges all together. Your fold will be pointing down. There are notches on the pattern piece showing you where to start and end your band. Sew together, stretching the band slightly as you go. The process is the same for view B, just with an extra step. Fold the short band in half and pin it to the small triangle piece, which is labeled X. Then sew it in place, stretching slightly as you go. You have the option to press the seam down and top stitch here. Then you'll take the longer band labeled Y, fold it in half, and pin it to the Y skirt, stretching slightly as you go. You won't sew it just yet. Place the X piece on top of the Y piece, right sides together, sandwiching the Y band in between. You'll have a small triangle of fabric from the X band sticking out. You can serge this off as you sew or trim it beforehand. And I highly recommend pressing and top stitching for this option. Step 6, we're basting the front skirt to the front bodices. Decide which half of the bodice you'd like on the outside. Make sure you've transferred the notches from the pattern piece to your fabric. There are 3 on each side. A in the arm side, then B and C on the tail of the bodice. Notch B lines up with the fold of the upper band of the skinny side or the tail of the opposite front bodice. And notch C lines up with the lower band of the front bodice. This is where it looks a little different depending on which view you're making. For view A and C, you'll line up the folded edge of the front skirt band with notch A on the front bodices and pin in place. The B and C notches on the front skirt match the B and C notches on the front bodices. The front skirt also has notch D, which lines up with the lower band of the skinny end of the front bodices. Make sure you catch all the layers as you replace the bands. Baste together with a long straight stitch from notch A all the way to D. For view B, the notches will be aligned as shown in step 6A. Then the band of the front skirt will overlap the lower bands of the front bodices. I'll show you up close here. You want the bands completely overlapping. You won't use notch A in the arm side for this view. Baste the layers together with a long straight stitch. Step 7 is attaching the sleeves. With your bodices open on the table right side up, place the sleeve on top, right sides down, and match the center of the sleeve with the shoulder seam of the bodices. Pin the top of the sleeve to the arm opening and sew in place. This is the flutter sleeve, and this is how it will look with the regular and bell sleeve. If you're doing the maternity front option of view A, mark the notches on the front skirt that were indicated by stars on the pattern piece. Sew a basting stitch between these marks. On your sewing machine, pick a straight stitch and turn the length all the way up. Leave a long tail and don't backstitch as you sew. Match the notches and the bottom skirt hems. Gently tug on the bobbin thread until the pieces match in length, then repeat for the other side. I wrap my tail around a pin or a clip a few times to hold it in place. Step 9 is attaching the optional pockets for views A and C. Lay a pocket piece on each side of the front skirt, right sides together, using the outlines on the pattern pieces as a placement guide. Sew along the outer edge of each pocket and repeat for the back skirt. Press the pocket and seam outward. You can also top stitch here. You'll only do step 10 if you're doing the FBA pieces. Match up the arm size and notch B of both the front and back bodice and pin in place. Then you'll gently stretch the back bodice to ease in the extra length of the front bodice. This is how we get that little bit of extra volume without needing to add a dart. Baste this together and then repeat for the other side. You did it! Join me for day 4 and we'll finish this pattern.